Okay. So back on record after some technical difficulties, recognition of guests, Tony? Yep, go ahead.
Thank you.
And just state your name and who you're.
My name is Tony Allwood. I'm the assessor for Northern Tribal Township. Thanks, Tony. Great name. I'm here because on your minutes, you'll see on number 2, with that background on the back side, it says Agriculture Business District. In number 1610 100 011. You'll see the address so they can see it. So 9 years ago, Andrew Corey, who was the chief appraiser for Peoria County, and I'm the assessor, went out and took a look at that property. And we deemed it to be ag. So we put it under farm.
Hear him.
So we're trying to change it now to business or, yes, probably to commercial.
We have 4 districts: ag, residential, industrial, and business.
So, I guess one question I have, I don't know if you talked to the supervisor assessments, right, Brian?
I did.
So then he gave you your take on it.
Excuse me just a minute. I cannot hear him speaking.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Maybe just speak louder.
All right. So I talked to who will be technically my boss, supervisor assessments, Peoria County, even though you guys elected him. So he kind of oversees what I do. I don't know what's changed in 9 years.
Well, let me ask a question. Whether we zone it ag or business, it has nothing to do with the tax assessment, correct?
So when I talked to supervisor assessments,
That's what he told me.
he was under the impression that you guys want to change the building to commercial and the parking lot to commercial, and then keep the rest ag. Is that true or is that wrong?
No,
Or what are you trying to
So
guess?
the background of where we are is we just redid our entire code book and we redid all of our zoning, and we did away from Peoria County. So Peoria County had like 7 residential. We narrowed it down to 1 that covers 80%, and then the 20% if somebody can use special use. And so when we did that, we went through and looked at all of the existing properties and saw how they matched up against our new 4 codes, our zones. And in our mind, that property is not being farmed, so therefore it's not ag. So I called the Peoria County supervisor and said, what we zone it, does it have anything to do with how the property is assessed and what the taxes are? And he said, no, it has nothing to do with that. And so in our minds, it was no harm, no foul.
Because if you try to do it,
Well, I'm going to have to hear that from him again because,
I'll have him call you.
okay.
So when I go meet with him, not this week, the following week, when I go in there, I will call you.
So you consider it ag even though it's not being farmed?
I consider it ag because he's got ag equipment.
Yeah, that wouldn't match with our current zoning, our new zoning.
So your new current zoning, so 9 years ago, we did that, right? So we went 9 years without batting an eye or changing, I guess, anything, or having a problem with it.
And to be honest with you, I don't care how you assess the taxes on it. It makes no difference to us. Our biggest concern is that frontage property that runs along 116 and down the next is currently ag because it's being farmed, but there's a company that owns it that wants to develop it. All of a sudden, if they want to develop it and they come in and they say, we want to leave it ag because he's ag, then I find myself in a situation where now I have to zone that, or I have to explain why I've zoned it differently than what I would zone that property.
So you're afraid like a commercial business would come in there?
I just want it to be right. At the end of the day, I just want it to be right. And that whole frontage property is eventually going to be developed, and it's the Hermans that own it, and they're talking about a fishery, and so then they're going to come in and say, or a farm pond business that could be considered, right? But
Now you're getting kind of gray area because if he would throw some beehives in his parking lot and throw some alfalfa down on the ground, you're going to have awfully hard taking.
He'd have to do an acre on his current.
And he
building,
You know how big his
not
building is?
just the field, the building
Okay.
itself.
So he could live in a parking lot.
If
You
he
brought
wants
dirt
to.
in.
So Chad's told you that what we zone it,
It doesn't make that big difference, but in his mind, when you talk to him, he's saying, oh, if they make this commercial, oh, well, then we may have to change what we do.
he told me, no matter what we do, it has absolutely makes no
He told
difference.
me this afternoon,
We need to talk to him then.
we will talk to him, because when I go in there, I'll call you before I go in there to let you know.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a conference call
Yeah,
because,
I'll call you. So,
I mean,
here's the thing. I understand what you're trying to do. I understand it. I'm sure you found, the sportsman club, I heard about that too. That's fine. I'm sure you found other places that you got besides this Brooks that probably you changed, possibly ag to commercial. I don't know what businesses you call it.
we had some business and industrials that we switched, but, I mean, we didn't have a ton of properties that were outside the scope. But he flat out told me, Chad flat out told me, you control what that property's taxed. It has nothing to do with what it's,
Yeah,
zoned.
you guys can change it, and then I can say, well, we're keeping the farmland.
Great.
Ag because you are separate from us, truthfully, because one is zoning and then.
So then we don't have a problem.
Well, we will, and Chad probably thinks, oh, since they made that business or commercial, we're gonna try to do that, so we won't have a small property. You won't have a small property, I will. So his current tax bill, what he pays to you guys, any guesses?
$5,000. Or no, it's 11% of $5,000.
14%. 13.82%.
Okay.
14. So you guys get in for Hans City, you get in for the TIF district, a lot of mad people.
Hold on. The TIF district and your property tax are not two different things. If we didn't have a TIF district, your property tax would be exactly the same as it was. All that money is happening is it's being shifted from your property tax to TIF. It's not a new tax.
So when it goes up from, pick a number, let's do an easy number, 50 to 75.
Mhm.
So these guys don't pay into that.
So, no, what I'm saying is if we didn't have a TIF district and your property was taxed at 100 and it went to 125, the 25 goes over to the TIF, your property tax stays at 100. If we didn't have a TIF district, your property tax would be 125. The amount you're paying is exactly the same. The incremental amount is being moved over into the TIF. So it's not a new tax.
So everybody in Hans City doesn't pay any extra every year.
Correct. It just is in a different bucket.
Yeah, so basically what happens is we establish a TIF district, that tax property is froze at that number, okay? So let's say it's 100, like Brian used, okay? The next year it's assessed at 125, okay? It's at 100. This is gonna show, the next year it's gonna show this is 100, and it's gonna have a TIF line that says 25.
So every year when you see that go up, they're not paying any extra.
They're not paying anything
on
extra.
their property.
It's just in a different bucket.
All they're doing is taking that differential from the baseline when the TIF district was started to the current increment, whatever the difference is, that's what goes in the TIF.
So they don't pay a single dime.
No.
Just
List another tax.
just which pocket it's coming out of.
Yep.
So if the TIF district went away tomorrow, all the money that's in the TIF would just shift back over to their property tax. And everybody would say, why did my property tax go up by X amount? And it's just because the TIF money shifted over. But it's
And then
not,
they
and
would-
then, the TIF stands for tax incremental financing. So the increment amount each year just goes into a different bucket. But it's not new money. It's the same, you'd be paying the same amount regardless.
So they pay the same property tax no matter what that even says on the bill.
Yeah.
No, they pay, the total is the same as what they would pay. Just a portion of it's in TIF and a portion of it's in their property tax number. So the property tax number is 11%. If you included the TIF in, then I understand how you got up to the 13%.
So that would be up to that. So
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, I understand what you're doing. I guess I don't. But I do say I laugh because I'm like, well, so when we looked at that back 20 years ago, and then we put building up, and we thought, well, this must be Dennis Brooks, call it whatever you want, LLC Incorporated, whatever, right? So, well, that could be a business, just under Dennis Brooks, the person. So, I understand what you're trying to do. Agree with it, but. that's
What don't you agree with?
I don't agree, you're taking it from ag to commercial business.
but technically it's not being farmed, so it's not ag.
And technically it is commercial business right now, correct?
So I guess it would change.
It's agricultural based, it's drainage tile and field work, cause see, I talked to Fred before I even went to the auction to buy it, or I wouldn't have bought it. And I'm just trying to protect myself, make sure I'm not gonna get some big surprise here, because I don't know, I just got this letter on Thursday. So it's not like I had a month to do any research or whatever.
And we can give you a month if you want it.
Well,
And we can
yeah,
hold
I
back.
mean, we were gonna ask to table it tonight for this further discussion or whatever.
Sure.
But it's just, it was a surprise and a shocker, and I went to Fred before, like I say, when they listed it on auction, I went to see Fred and said, look, I'm looking at buying this, because I had some zoning issues at home, having my business at the farm. So I would like to be up on 116 where I'm visible, et cetera, but I don't want any major surprises, I'm gonna be sticking my neck out. He's like, you basically will grandfather in, now when you sell it, if I, you know, cause I told him if I retire at 60 or 62 or whatever, he said, when you sell it, if a business buys it, then it will most likely change, but you will grandfather in until said time you sell it.
So I talked with Fred this week, and he says he doesn't remember that conversation.
Yeah, he met me out there, we talked about it, discussed it.
He said what he remembers is that it's unlikely that it would change, but he said he didn't make any promises, and there's no paperwork that would. We went back and looked at the.
When I asked him, I said, can I get that in writing? He said, well, you'll basically grandfather in, that's when he said the grandfather part. But I asked prior to going and buying it, and, you know, I've called him and asked his question, and the issue is if it switches to business, it's not gonna change this year, but say 2 years from now or whatever, they came back out, Peoria County comes out with him like they did the first time to reassess it. The difference between agricultural and business is they could state that the building is worth more money because it's commercial versus that.
It is.
So if they assess it as a different value, then most definitely the taxes are gonna.
Yeah, so when I talked to Chad, he said that he didn't feel like the property would change in value because the majority of the property is not available for commercial use because of the lake and other things that are there. He said, he's the one that said to me that the building might change. I didn't say that. He's the one that said to me that the building, the value of the building might change. But at the end of the day, what he told me is however it's assessed by you is what will determine what the taxes are. If we zoned it, whatever, residential, it doesn't make any difference. But you're saying now that how we zone it.
When I talked to Chad, he made it sound to me like, since you talked to him and he's never been out there, so you probably know that. He's never seen the place. And he said, well, that's actually main business. I said, well, the owner of the property is W. Brooks. I don't see where it says this, W. Brooks Senior Incorporated, LLC. Any of that. The sign I see, D. Brooks. So.
Well, let's back up. The reason for me calling him wasn't to try to get the taxes changed. The purpose of me calling him was based upon a conversation I had with Eric, because we wanted to make sure we knew and understood if we were going to have any impact based upon the change that we're making. Chad told me no.
Like I said, I will, Brian, I'll give you plenty of lead time, let you know when I go in to talk to him, we'll call you.
So you're saying us rezoning it changes your opinion of the property?
I think it's not gonna change my opinion, because I'm gonna try to keep everything farmland. It's gonna change Chad's opinion, because one, he doesn't live out here. We all do, including Dennis. It's in his mind, it'll change it. He doesn't even.
But at the end of the day, isn't that your call?
He's technically my boss, even though I'm elected. Don't have his input, I'll have mine. Probably not gonna come to agreement.
So what he told me was then, again, I'm just trying to make sure it's straight. What he told me was if we leave it ag, it doesn't matter. The property will be assessed the way the property is assessed, even if we leave it ag.
Well, yeah, it stayed just like it is. If you left it ag, it stayed just like it was.
That's not what he said to me.
Okay, well,
He said to me that your assessment of the property and the value of the property is what determines the taxes. What
It
we,
is,
what
correct.
we zone, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And he actually said the words, leave it ag, it doesn't matter, because the assessment will be the assessment. My point is, if he's gonna push you or put his knee in your back to assess it differently, but what he told me, he's gonna do that regardless of whether it's ag or it's,
Well, he's gonna try to do that, right? I'm not gonna agree with that, but there again, he's technically above me. You know, so, and he can't fire me, correct, because I'm elected by you guys. But when you guys change this business, he's gonna take a look at that and say, oh, where's my commercial business? He's not out here. He doesn't live here.
Does Peoria County have an agricultural business, or is it strictly ag, residential,
Yeah, residential,
commercial?
ag. They got variances of that, right? But as we did 9 years ago, as you know, Andrew Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we went out there and checked everything out, measured everything out, we, in our opinion, decided that to do ag, farmland. So he has got 4.65 acres of farmland and 4 acres of technically non-farm. So it still falls, and it's one of the offshoots that Brian was talking about, how Peoria County's is divided.
So there's two parcels there.
No, it's one, but it's broke up, it's still ag, it's still farmland. So the non-farmland park kind of designation is still farmland, but it's a little higher money wise. So when you go from farmland to residential, commercial, they're all, everything above farmland is more money.
so are you gonna look at the Sportsman's Club since it changed from residential to business?
I probably will, because, I mean, that's not residential.
I
Yeah,
understand.
but
When I
it's
look,
marked as residential.
right, when I look at Peoria County, I see this E-class commercial on the assessor's website.
What I feel like is, we don't have anything to do with this debate.
Okay, that's fine.
And, no,
Okay.
I'm not trying to be
Oh,
difficult.
no, that's fine. Yeah, if you want, it's fine.
I-
I'm not either, right? So when I talk to
I'm
Chad,
just telling you what we need to do is have a three-way call with Chad, because Chad needs to, his story to you or his story to me is wrong.
yeah, I talked to him today probably at 3:00. I don't know what time you talked to him.
But my point is, if he's got it in his head that he wants to make a change, he told me he would make that change regardless of whether it was zoned ag or business. I'm not saying that's what he's gonna do, but if your point is he's got it in his head that that's what he wants to do,
I think God said what he wants to do, whatever.
My worry was, we're gonna put spotlight on it.
Which is, yeah, he's already been.
There he
questioned,
is
it's already
over
been
here,
done now.
you know, and that's where a lot of my concern was, you know, is
as long as you understand that wasn't our motivation. Our motivation was to call and see if we were going to have an impact on you based upon Eric asking me to, what the difference would be. So at the end of the day, I don't care what it's taxed at. I mean, I want your, I don't,
Yeah, you're only gonna get your certain slice of the pie regardless. It's just.
but even that, we don't need the money. We're not doing it for that purpose, right?
No, I'm not.
My greater concern is that frontage property and having the Hermans come in and want to develop that and then say, well, you've already got a business there so why can't we be ag? And then that changes their building construction rules because they're zoned different, right?
So yeah, you may have a hard time with them if they do have a pond and they call it for raising fish, and then they want ag.
I understand. I don't think the fishery is gonna come now, but the retail space to sell the stuff that goes, right? So again, somebody could argue,
It's gonna be a business.
but somebody could argue that they do farm ponds. You do tile drainage and you work on farms. Somebody could argue.
grain elevators and feed stores.
Same thing. So we go and buy
Zone.
those, and they're ag. They're ag. So, you know, Akron, all right, Akron is way out, right?
On 78,
Well, Kramer was, right?
okay, yeah.
So we went out because they put up some huge green,
Yeah.
elevators, they're huge business now. We went through and did it all by square foot, we have a table that we go by, and that's how we do come up with value for this, that is ag. So, but that's fine, I just wanted to voice my.
No, we're glad you.
What about implement, like, yeah, or the big one up there in Princeville,
yeah. German.
yeah, is that all like ag?
That's probably some form, they probably have a ag/business type class, but, so, I don't, yeah, Princeton I can't speak up, I don't really know.
It's not near,
But no, so I got this from an email, I saw this, and then I heard about the sportsman club, word of mouth. And so when I looked up for the county, we have this commercial, but.
You have what commercial?
Sportsman club.
The,
Same class commercial. So.
I guess what we need to do is we're happy to table, the
Yeah,
conversation.
Here's what I'd say, please table for a month, let myself, let Brian, Chad is the supervisor assessment Peoria County, so he doesn't go any higher than him. Let us have I'll be in the office, we'll call you.
Okay.
We can talk about it,
That'd be great.
so.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that the zoning in Hannah City is accurate.
Here's the thing, I don't care what you do, Sonny, but I did wanna come here and say, be careful what you do though, because it may have, and Eric's point, it may have an effect when Peoria County looks at it, which they'll only look at some things, and say, well, they're calling that commercial, we call business, and well, maybe we need to make that commercial. So yes, I know you don't need the money, you will get the money because it will go up. I know you're saying, Chad said it won't go up.
No, Chad didn't say that. Chad told me that how we zone it has no impact on how he and you assess it for property taxes.
So for me, it has no, I don't, your opinion is great. You guys are super smart, that's fine. I understand that, this is your town, do where you wanna do zoning wise. I don't have a problem with that. Doesn't affect me. I do think when you change it, it's gonna affect Chad. Chad's not here. Chad doesn't live here. Chad doesn't represent this. It doesn't bother Chad. Right, you're Dennis. What bothers Chad, what business brings you up?
Understand. All I'm saying is that when I spoke to him, I got the impression that if he felt it was a certain way, how we zone it isn't going to change his opinion one way or the other. Now, I could be wrong.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, so. All right, I appreciate everybody's time.
Oh, no, thank you for coming.
Guys. So, thank you for listening. We go on for too long.
You guys are welcome to stay for the whole.
Dennis, did you wanna speak or say anything?
Just briefly, cause he hit a lot of the topics that I was gonna bring.
Yeah. Come on.
But basically, I went to the NRCS and picked this map up, and I only got one copy, but you guys can pass it around, where it shows the building, and that's kind of the line where they call that ag, and they're saying it's 1.76 acres still that they're considering ag on that backside.
Who's they?
NRCS, the government soil and water.
Oh, okay.
So I still have an active farm number and 1.7 acres there in the back that is still considered farm field, the backside of the pond. And it's just been set aside grass, we're mowing it, I let it grow up for a while and it looks terrible, so.
Yeah, cause according to Peoria County GIS, you got 4.65 acres of cropland and then 4.1 of or other farmland.
Right, and that's kinda how that map will show you that when it gets around to you. Basically, like I said, just back in the beginning, how it started is I went to him when I was gonna try to buy it, discussed it with him, he met me out there actually.
Sure.
I showed him where the entrance, where I was gonna be, what I was gonna build, what I wanted to do, make sure that it was gonna work and that it was okay before I went.
Yeah.
Bought the ground anyhow.
Yeah.
So-
He recalls all that. He just said the only difference between him and you is he said that in his mind he described it as unlikely to change,
Right.
not as grandfathered or
Right, well, he said the grandfather part, when I said, can I get that in writing just so that I have it, I trust you.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, it'd be grandfathered in if you came in and we had an issue, but when you sell it, I can tell you that if you sell it to a business.
Understand.
Or something industrial or whatever, somebody puts a weld shop in there, was a comment that he had made, then it will change. I'm like, that's the new owner's problem, not mine,
Yeah.
that's all I'm concerned with.
It might be worthwhile for you to reach out to Fred and have a conversation and see if you guys can come to some sort of agreement.
Does anybody have, I don't have.
Yeah.
the number anymore.
Yeah, I can give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not mad about none of it, I just wanna make sure that with the economy bad enough as it is right now, and I'm burning 15 grand a month in diesel fuel, and everybody else going up and down the road doing the same, but.
Well, and I want to make sure
I don't need any other surprises.
I want to make sure that you understand that our motivation has never been
Right.
to change your taxes. And once I heard that what we zone it isn't gonna have an impact, then then my mind is I got it right, and it solves my other issues.
I feel like it's opening up a door to where they're gonna scrutinize it, the chances are higher, but now that he's already been questioned and asked about it, I'm sure the issue's already there, whether we do or don't change it, but I'd still prefer to leave it. You know, we table it, figure out, I'll do some discussion or whatever and research on my own side, and if that means we come to some agreement where we set a time frame, possibly 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and then it changes, give me a little bit of time to be ensured that it's not gonna.
And I just wanna say that we have updated our entire code book.
Right.
This is the last section of it, and that is why it's happening at this time. It's not like we said, oh, let's pick out these. We just did a whole,
Right, you
like a
went through
year-long
everything, right.
thing, and
Yeah, you
this
did a
was
big
the
audit.
last.
No, what we did is we said, we don't want Peoria County's code book, was basically what we had. And so we wanted something specific for Hannah City.
Right.
So we did the work for a year and a half to get it down to what we thought.
Right, which is the exact reason why I bought that property out there, because I wanted to build another building anywhere with Peoria County zoning and ruling, just from what I went through on my own farm.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we wouldn't, I mean, I want it to be zoned the way it should be zoned, but we moved forward, I moved forward under the assumption that how we zoned it wasn't gonna have any impact on your tax bill.
Right. And as long as there isn't, I guess we come to, some kind of agreement with it.
So we'll table it until our first meeting in July, which will be the second Monday in July, which will be July 13th.
Okay.
Unless, we have an agreement or contact you before we bring it, yeah. We will not bring it up. We'll have it delayed until at least that day, so just so you know.
Yeah, at least that way we.
To
can
our
roll
first
that
meeting
one
in
out.
July, which will be July 13th, 2026. That gives you time, it gives us time.
Yeah, a little bit of research at least.
Exactly.
It wasn't enough with the weekend in there.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that was as simple as when the legal paperwork was done, I just put it on the next meeting's agenda. We sent out the letters that Monday, but I have no problem postponing.
Thank you much.
Thank you
That's
very
what
much.
I was here for.
I got real one, and this will be super fast.
Yeah.
So when we do our call and Jan says, yeah, we're gonna deem that commercial, that is gonna change
I'm not sure I follow.
as far as what he's paying tax on.
I get that,
So,
but what does that have to, I mean, I'm not trying to be harsh, but
oh no.
that's not Hannah City's decision.
You're gonna have a full.
I mean,
Well, it's too late now. It's already been done.
I mean, if that's the
No,
way,
I meant, it's already been brought to his
It
attention,
has been brought to his attention.
so,
Brought to his attention, correct.
I mean, there,
and the reason it was brought to his attention was to determine if it was gonna have an impact on you, right? That was what the conversation was. But again, I want to hear him say,
All right.
however we zone it has nothing to do with how he's going to assess it. If he says that, then what are you asking of Hannah City at that point?
he wants to keep it.
So, but if he says it doesn't matter whether we keep it ag or not, he's gonna assess it the way he's gonna assess it. Again,
I don't think he's gonna say that though, Brian. I don't wanna disagree with you.
no, feel free.
You don't understand it, that
Brian
you're
talked
not,
at 3 o'clock today, he said to me, like, well, they may call that, deem that commercial business.
See, what it seems like to me is all of a sudden nobody wants to put their hands on it because it's gonna impact somebody's
I wanna put
taxes.
my hands on it, right? I wanna keep it just like it is, but when this is all brought up, now you went above more or less me, then
Well,
him.
That's just,
it's
that
gonna
was,
change.
that was just a matter of me not understanding who did what.
That's fine.
So that's on me.
It's
That,
not-
it,
it's not on anybody, right?
no, but I just want you to understand that the intent wasn't to go around you.
No, it's fine. No, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm saying,
I knew,
it's not
like
gonna
you,
affect you, it's not gonna affect me, it's not gonna affect any of you people, right? No, not bash you, but it'll affect this guy. So, we live here.
potentially though, it could impact us, or it could, based upon that frontage property and the ultimate downstream impact of that. That could have an impact on us and on the village, on the other taxpayers within the village. So again, nobody's We didn't sit around and go, how do we get Dennis,
Yeah, I
right?
think we did.
That was no one's intent.
But I think with this underlying, it's gonna change how county. So, as you people.
But you think that's only gonna happen if we change it. You think if we don't change it, he's not gonna do anything.
Well, it would probably give me a better legal standing to try to fight against it, I would think. But if I've got you guys against it and him against it, then that's two people I gotta fight against.
I mean, here's my thing.
I'm hoping that's
So
not
I'm the assessor, he's gonna have a lot of say in what goes on. I'm gonna, and this might take, whether this is transparent as I can be, I don't wanna change anything on it. I don't wanna make anything he has on that property commercial. That's it.
I guess my question though is, you didn't do that 9 years ago. What's changed in 9 years
That's
now?
exactly what I asked when I come up here first.
But that's my question to you is, what's changed? You guys,
Nothing's changed for me.
then why change it? Why change the tax assessment?
Besides you guys changing it for the zoning, which.
But I'm told that doesn't have any impact.
I didn't see
That's what we were told.
You know, and he
So-
might have pondered or looked into it more after he hung up from you too.
Yeah,
And-
so,
We'll go more, I'll call you, I'll let you know when.
Yep, that'd be great.
Then we'll, three-way, we'll be, him and I will be together, we'll add you in.
Understand.
So we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. The one thing I would ask is the ordinance in there, that packet in there, that's the ordinance, if you would leave that and not throw it away, because if nothing changes, I'll just use the same packet for the next time we meet. Yes, ask away.
Are we completely tabling where I can talk or ask a question?
not at this time. I say, let's, if it goes to that, let's hold it up until we get to
Planning and
residential- To planning and zoning. Just write your question down so we don't
No,
forget.
we're fine.
No, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, if you wanna talk about it, but we're just gonna hold it off until then, cause we're trying to get through some of this other preliminary stuff first.
Should just be one stapled packet that's got the ordinance on the top and then all the supporting materials.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. So, approval of previous meeting minutes from our May 8th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes and submit.
Motion by Pearson, second by Johnson. Any further discussion or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Treasury report.
Cassandra's in training, and so I'll cover it. You got both the treasurer's report and payroll. If you have any questions on any of it.
You will see the big payment out to Lumiere for $117,545 in there.
That was a second installment for the building.
Exactly. And we did get a FOIA on the building.
You guys saw that, right?
No,
Hanging out.
I didn't.
Or weren't you on it? We basically got a FOIA asking us to show the process we went through in selecting the contractors. And there's two processes you can use. For MFT, we use one that has a closed bid, so it comes in and then you don't open them until a certain given time and everybody can be present. And then there's another one that you can go through that Shauna walked me through that you can still get competitive bids, you still post it, but you don't have to, it doesn't have to be closed. And then the only difference is if the board votes on it, you have to have 2/3 or more vote to move forward with the contractor. We had 100% vote to move forward with that contractor. So we sent all that back, and then it was a union. It was a contractors union, carpenters union, and they just said in the future we'd like it if you would use the other process because we feel like it's more
Yeah, that's
competitive that way.
a 2-page thing on it.
So then we get none, nothing?
No, really the only downside of the other way is I think you're more inclined to have to use the lowest bid that comes in, or you have to demonstrate pretty dramatically that you don't want to use the lowest bid and why. And we wanted more flexibility for quality and other reasons, so that's why we did it the way we did it. Did I miss anything, Shauna?
No, I think you covered everything with that.
Okay.
Oh.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding debts.
Pearson, second by Weaver. Any further discussion, comments, concerns? We'll roll call that. Weaver?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Johnson? Purcell, yes. Motion carried. Engineers report?
Nothing.
Sean, attorney's report?
I really don't have anything at this time. I mean, we've been busy with all of the zoning and everything and the FOIA request, and Brian has covered really everything unless anybody has any questions.
Stick around, we may talk about that later under planning and zoning.
Okay.
I'd like to be okay to have a discussion among what the board felt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can really only hear Brian still.
Oh, is the mic not
Maybe
turned on?
maybe the mic's not.
Better?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, sorry. For some reason, when we kicked back on, the mic was not right.
Okay. Thank you.
Administrator's report, Mr. Baylor. Okay, so you got a financial pack. This is the first month of the new fiscal year. So there's no year-to-date numbers, but you can see in May we had 149,000 worth of income, 112 worth of expenses, so positive 37,560. The only area that was negative was administrative. I will call out we did things a little bit different this year. Rather than just have a general line, we have administrative now. We have streets, unemployment, water, sewer, and garbage. So we pulled streets out separately, and we're allocating a portion of the income over there. So we have income and expense on streets as well, and it's not just rolled into administrative.
It gives us a better layout of what our actual street expenses are then.
And it gives Roger some experience
Budgeting.
and dealing with revenue and expense and so forth. So that's why we did it that way. If you look at the explanation, so the 37.5, we were negative on administrative. That was pretty much driven. Income was better. The expenses that were driven, it was a 5 payroll week. So we had 1 extra payroll. We also I did a cash transfer from administrative to streets for $5,000 to kind of help make sure we seeded that cash to the right amount. And then we had the code updates. We had an invoice for the final code updates for about $5,000. So that's what drove that number to be negative. Streets was positive. Water was positive. Sewer was positive. We did not have the solar rebate in there yet, so that we'll hopefully get that next month, so that should even be more positive. And then garbage was positive. Income was on budget, but if you remember, we didn't have any expenses this month because we paid double last month at the end of the fiscal year. So that's why that's the way it is. MFT will be like this all year. Income, no expenses. So we're just moving as much as we can down into the Illinois funds. TIF, we only had the interest money come in this month. Property taxes start next month. BDD, we were a little bit over on the interest, but a little bit behind on the sales tax number. So that explains all that. And then final, if you look at the cash, checking was about 278. That was down about $3,000. Most of that was transfers to Illinois funds. Savings was up 31,000. Again, that was based upon those transfers. So through the first month, we have a cash flow positive of 28,546. And then if you look at the sheet, the cash sheet, I added a column out to the right for a target. Basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to target each month just having 2 months of operating expenses on the checking side. So again, skinnying down the amount that we have in checking, and that will make sure we're moving as much as we can into the Illinois funds. And then where we were negative down below, that transfer, the loan money that was left over for the sewer, we just moved up top to help pay the monthly loan. And then that $17,000, that was capital expense on the new building, public works building. The other thing we did is we budgeted differently, so I don't have to show those adjusted numbers as much. Anytime we spend capital, we're going to put it in the capital line item and just pull that out of the number so that we can show the true operating, and then I'll show any capital expenditures on the cash sheet. Any questions?
And Illinois funds made $8,901.61 this month.
Correct. Awesome. The next thing I've got is, okay, so if you remember right, we've been working with that Nathan Hendricks, and we had the aggregation for the town that we decided we weren't going to do for a while. But we also had them managing the accounts for the village. So our individual accounts, in other words, the lagoon, this building, the public works building, and so forth. So I asked them to re-quote that. That contract was up. You've got a stack there of detail, but the summary of it is that they're estimating will save around $3,500, about almost 16.5% on our individual energy savings if we go with the, what's it called? Put it in the 24-month AEP Energy All-In Commodity Program. So we'll save about, what, $7,000 over 2 years if we will go this route. That's the estimate.
And what is this for?
So this is, rather than an aggregation for the town in total, this is the broker managing our individual accounts and trying to find a better way for us to purchase that and save some money.
So this would have nothing to do with the constituents in the town. This is just
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Because based off our conversation we had with him, it made no financial sense for the town.
At this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens after 24 months?
We'll have to revisit it. They'll come back and look at it again and tell us if there's another next step that makes sense, or we just stick with Ameren. So if you're interested in us doing this, then I would entertain a motion. Maybe I'm taking
It locks us in.
Huh?
It locks us in.
It does.
For 24 months.
Right.
But what's the rate? Do we have a rate of it?
There's a sheet in there. It's more complicated.
For the day ahead?
Well, it's definitely better than the 12 cents that is currently.
I think it's on the fourth page. AEP 24 months. All-in commodity rate is 0.08813. Which is the one he recommended in his email.
The only option is 24 months?
No, there's other options, but that was the one they recommended. If you could go back to the email.
Just seems like quite a long time. I mean, if what we're not opted into dips below that, then we're locked in at a higher rate for upwards of 2 years. Not that I think that there's an outlook of Ameren getting cheaper or electricity getting cheaper, but
Always a possibility. We've seen it in the
24
past.
months, that's why I mean, I'm all for saving money, but
Yeah, I guess the question would be: this would save us $7,000 over the 24 months? Is there an opportunity potentially for saving more? I suppose yes, but we don't know that at this point. They're recommending that this is the rate, but again, I'm okay if you don't want to do it. I mean, it's a gamble anyway. We're speculating.
Has anybody got any information on
Well, the
previous
point-
years of?
Well, the one we just came out of was 0.05. The contract we just came out of. Ameren ran, like in the later part of the winter, 0.08. Now they're up to 0.112.
Right.
Will it go back down in the winter? Maybe. But I don't know that it'll go back down to 0.08 because they're saying this is just due to summer usage. but I don't see it ever going down past 0.08.
It's only gonna get worse too with more data centers and AI usage. I just hate the 2-year lock-in personally.
I think so.
I
No, we had
recommend
1
it.
year.
But we got to lose. Win you win some, you lose some.
Go for it. I'm all for it.
I think we got a motion and a second.
Yeah, motion by Miller, second by Johnson.
Johnson,
I'll take it.
do I hear that?
Yes.
Motion by Miller?
Yes.
And
Second
I'll
by
second.
Johnson.
Yes.
We're not really spending any money, just voting on it. So, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those by nay, or those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Bryan, before we go?
Nope.
Mr. Peterson, Finance.
I don't believe I have anything to report.
The only thing I'll add is, I thought about it this afternoon. Shannon, we have to have the appropriations ordinance done within how many days of the new fiscal year? Is it 30?
I think it's 30, yeah.
I sent a note to Cassandra, she's out today and tomorrow, but she may be reaching out to you, but I asked her to put it together so we had it for the next meeting.
Okay. I was wondering, I hadn't heard anything from her, and so I was kind of.
I've asked her to work on that.
Okay.
Okay, so planning and zoning.
Okay, so big picture to small picture. So basically what we did was we had to go to the planning meeting commission. We met with them last week, and they agreed that they liked Title II, that they liked the bringing the zoning classifications down. And then they also voted on the 2 properties that needed to be reclassified, the Sportsman's Club and Brooks property that we already talked about. In that packet that I asked you to pull out, there should be a map in there. And I've got big ones here if you want to. This is the new zoning map. There's 3 of them in there. But if you look at this legend right here, so green is ag, blue is business, purple is industrial, and yellow is residential. So basically, we took all of the different ones, brought it down into 4, and then we redrew the map with the help of Farnsworth. That blue dot to the far left is the property we're talking about with Brooks, that kind of square or trapezoid or whatever you want to call it. Really, not a lot changed. And the one point about the Sportsman's Club is they're currently nonprofit, so whether we change theirs from residential to business isn't going to impact them or not because they don't pay property tax. So, but it's zoned right for whoever would take it over next, I guess is the point. So really the Brooks property is the only one that's in question. So if we voted tonight, we'd be basically voting to adopt the ordinance that changed the zoning portion of Title II and the new zoning map, and redirected those 2 properties. But we're not going to vote tonight. We're going to hold that till the 17th meeting. I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on the discussion that we had. And
I just had a question. Can we do an ag with a special use zone?
I don't, Shannon, I don't think we had ag business like as an allowable use in the new zoning code. I think we just had ag.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think we did either.
I got a little stake in that game. Well, I have 25 acres that I zoned in as agricultural with potential business. So would I have to change all of my property to business?
I don't think you
would. How would we go about it that day? I don't know if it's going to
What
come to
business
that.
do you have on your property?
I had a body shop. I mean, I don't have nothing right now, but my plan is when I retire to possibly start working on cars again or do a record, but would we have to like resurvey and just do some of my property, or?
I don't think so. The reason I
But
say
that's
that,
why I was saying, we need to get a.
But you're not gonna have like a storefront.
It is still business. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
don't have
but
storefront
there's a
either,
difference.
and that's where I'm like,
if there's a designation, though, I think in the new code between a home business and allowable home business and not, you live there.
because originally when I first talked, I don't even remember who it was. We talked about me having my
Probably.
business there. No, that was way before you.
Okay.
This was years ago, and everybody was like, because my first thing was, if I go full on legit with this, I don't have handicapped accessible bathrooms or handicap parking, which I do now. I have a tar chip now, so it's closer. But I too was told that I would just be grandfathered in, and I wouldn't have to provide none of that.
But I think the difference is you live there and there's allowable home businesses. And so the difference would be is you don't have parking, you don't have industrial traffic, you don't have, you know what I'm saying? We've got other ag properties like that where they do, out on Pinkerton would be another example where somebody's got a body shop over there that they work out of. So I don't think that changes anything.
I guess I'm having a really hard time. So he has 10 acres, roughly. 8.28 of that is his business in the lake. So 1.76 is agriculture. He's not planting it. So he said he mows it, right? I guess if our delineation that we had been talking about was it had to be farm property, planted, like what's, I mean, I have a garden tractor. If I have a garden and it comes down to it, even if it's only 22% of my property, am I now
have
bad?
1 acre.
I'm just saying,
No,
it seems like
that is the Peoria County rule. If you farm 1 acre on your property, you can be
but he's not farming.
agriculture.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he is
Well,
a
he's got
business.
set
He
aside
is.
on some of it.
He's-
See, here's the other slope,
yeah.
really part of that slope. Dennis Brooks owns it and leases it to the company. So I don't know what kind of loophole that
Well, that
provides
would
either.
be
To me, this
Fine.
is
So that's-
business.
to me,
I don't
that's-
understand. I just don't see the ag discussion at all. Like, to me, it sounds like somebody's coming in and trying to advocate so they can keep, try to keep their. And I understand prices are high. I want to keep my taxes low too, but everything he described to me is a business. Like, they sell drainage tile. I looked it up. It's an INC. Like, when you look up the address, it comes up D. Brooks Inc. And he said it's not on the sign. That's a loophole, man. Like, it's a business. I don't.
Does he sell retail stuff out of there? I thought he did.
Yeah.
He
The
just firewood.
the boilers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
The
I don't really know that he does.
Wood burning.
yeah,
really.
no, I mean,
I mean, he
couple a
does.
year.
They do like pumpkins and
No, I don't think that's him,
not
though.
just little bales
I
like
think that's
in
just-
October and wood piles. People can just stop by and put a cash. It's
No,
not like
but they sell the big boilers. That's
I
the
don't
thing.
know
Yeah,
if they do or
they
not
do, they
because
do.
I
I
haven't
we talked
seen
about that.
them.
But my concern is we got to protect ourselves for future problems too. Because we talked,
Yeah.
Brian
Well-
and I talked about it the last few days.
And I think that would have to be stipulated when you come in for a building permit. You are building as a business. I get that.
Shanna, what's the legal, if we decided, my biggest concern is, honestly, I don't care whether they're agribusiness. I don't even care what their taxes are. I just want it to be right. You know what I mean? To Eric's point, which is the future stuff. Is there a way that if we decided that can we legally grandfather him? Can the board say that just for that one guy, we're going to grandfather that property ag, but in the future, everything else is going to have to go? Because I'm not saying that's what we do. I'm just saying
He's going to retire.
that would solve this issue and give us the protection on the Herman
Less
property.
than 5 years. And his kids don't let it. it's not, it'll
I
be.
would want to look into that a little bit more before I give you an answer tonight, just to make
Yeah, that's
sure.
fine.
Okay.
What kind of
Look who it is.
on the legal side? How does it? I don't know if you heard me say Dennis Brooks owns the property and then leases it to his own business, but that separates it, right? So then where does that fall in as far as
Landowners
or does that play an effect of it?
I guess let's play it out. Let's say I own the coffee can property, and
Right, it's still commercial
yeah,
property. No matter who
I
owns
lease it out to
right.
somebody. It's still, I think it's still
But that
business.
was already grandfathered in as business.
So
It started.
I can tell you're like, it's business cut and dried. How about you guys? How do you feel?
I say we, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not agricultural, but
But it is agricultural business.
and you know he was under the assumption that he was grandfathered in, right?
And
But I agree with you of saying like,
well,
okay,
obviously he was. He had some kind of deal
Well, when I spoke to
when he
Fred,
built that.
Fred said that the conversation was the chances of it changing are probably remote. But said Fred, and I can't imagine Fred promising. Maybe you guys can.
No, I'm
point
sure he
to-
didn't promise.
Well, no, because that is
He may have said it was grandfathered in.
Obviously, the tax assessor's turning a blind eye to the place.
exactly.
Yeah, because
That's my.
it shouldn't be that way anyway. I mean,
But he said
you know, because
the big grain
you only
mills
get
are paying agriculture.
the
Right.
tax advantages if it's being farmed.
I'd be most interested to hear how that conversation goes, because what you were saying is correct in terms of he came up there and said nothing's changed. Okay, then they don't have a reason to change it. It doesn't matter what we do. They can disagree with us, and that's a completely separate thing. We do it for our reasons, they do it for their reasons. It doesn't affect each other. So if it's shining a spotlight on it, nothing's changed. They shouldn't need to change anything. If they have a reason to change, that's not our fault.
But is a business tax, property tax higher? It is higher than agriculture.
Yeah.
So if they kept the value exactly
Even
the
at that,
same,
the 4 acres that he has, that the Peoria County guy told me that value is not going to change.
Right.
It's really the building. The building's going to probably be zoned business,
I
and
think it all goes. It goes off the same track, unless they divide the track.
but
No,
see, they're
right.
gonna
they
value,
value the whole
building
property. He's not going to
higher.
value the whole property business because a portion of it isn't being used for the business. That's what he told me, the Peoria County guy.
That don't sound right.
Well, like the guy said, that they do it for the grain people that have.
Well, that's why I
big,
asked that,
giant
because where does all
Western
that
grain and all
because
that
yes, most of his business is
tile work.
building terraces, building ponds, and doing tile work, which is all agricultural. So if a grain elevator, which sells feed and hay and buys grain, if they're zoned agricultural still, I don't know.
See, it just feels like we're adding our own definitions to certain, like John Deere. That they're selling tractors. That's agricultural. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like we're starting to blur the lines between these two things, and
But they're valuing here's why he's already, because now they're going to value the building differently
well,
than
I
if
understand
they
that.
would have if it was just used to store the tractor.
And if he was actually farming, that's one thing. And he doesn't live there. It is straight up a business, and he's just mowing the back 40, the back 1.2.
And that's
So,
where
but I want to go back to what Brad said. Do you have some concerns about the perception he has that somebody grandfathered him? That maybe we need to continue that?
Oh, he already said he's contacting a lawyer.
Yeah, well, we've got Shanna looking into the possibility of whether or not we can grandfather him.
Yeah.
Now, when he did annex, he was zoned ag when he annexed, but we do that a lot. You know what I mean?
I don't know that that changes anything or that's a commitment that it's always going to be ag. In fact, the Planning and Zoning Commission decided that no, they don't want it to be ag anymore. They wanted it to be business. And what I told them is that there's going to be some noise about the tax thing. I said, I just want you to look at it and make an assessment. Don't worry about any of the other stuff. That's this group's job. You just look at it and make an assessment. Is it ag or is it business? And they thought it was business. So
If there's some legitimacy to the grandfathering, wonderful, great. We don't have to worry about it then. Otherwise, I mean,
But can't that
It
open
is
us
what
up
it
to
is.
more problems? If somebody says, "Well, you grandfathered him in, I want to come in," and it
not if there's
There's a,
not
they
an
have,
agreement.
Gonna
they
put
have
a
an
retail
existing
front?
to do that.
That's different. Now, if they come in and only build the pond, we're not going to have any say anyway. It is technically agriculture.
Now I just found a site that says Brooks Enterprises, Central Illinois, Central Boiler, outdoor furnaces. Brook Enterprises authorized central boiler dealer.
yeah, that's what I googled.
So I mean,
It's 100% a business.
So they're selling retail stuff out of it. I mean, to me, after looking at our zoning and the descriptions, it's clearly a business. It's not ag. And I thought we were clear because the Peoria County guy told me what we zone it has nothing to do with the assessment. But what I think is happening
But
is
it has to do with the multiplier. Maybe not the assessed value.
I don't know. I'll have the conversation, see if he backpedals at all on his point. Shauna's going to look and see if grandfathering opens up, helps us or hurts us.
Okay.
My biggest thing is that whole frontage property there is currently being farmed. If the Hermans come in tomorrow and say we're putting up a retail space to sell products for farm ponds, they're going to say, well, Brooks is ag. We want to be ag.
Coming from a lawyer, if he does if we do change it and he gets an attorney, do they really have a leg to stand on? Really? I mean, even though if all the other, are they just can they argue that
They've been
like
9 years.
the implement places and the grain elevators are still zoned agricultural? Is that going to be their leg to stand on, or is that just all a maybe? Or I mean, do they really have anything to stand on?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be their argument that they are selling farm implements and things like that.
but they're also selling boilers.
Right. So I mean, I think it's going to be down to. I'll have to look at some.
I don't think they're going to take it that far, but
I think if it would have been within 7 years of them building that, they didn't have anything to stand on. But after 7 years, I think they are grandfathered in.
Why do you say that?
Because if I mow somebody's property for 7 years and they don't do anything, I can claim that property.
Only if you pay taxes on it.
If I pay, yeah. I mean, but I can say, that's my property. I've taken care of it for 7 years.
Well, I'll see how the conversation goes. She's going to check on the grandfathering thing. We've got a month to talk about it.
And in the big scheme of things, I don't think he'll be there more than 5 years. I mean, if that's.
To me, it
the
is what it
business is
is.
still going to be there, but the owner's
Oh.
not.
I thought he was
All
just closing it.
businesses registered in Peoria County with him.
Is he registered? Don't know.
Does he pay sales tax? Does
I
he
have
state
no
of
idea.
Illinois?
He
He'd have
does.
to pay sales tax.
I have no idea.
It's nothing though, because he doesn't sell hardly any of those things.
They just sit
That would be
there
the only thing
They just
with
sit
the
on his
the
property.
gravel and all that stuff. You don't pay sales tax on.
Okay, we're beating a dead horse tonight, I think, on this. We got it tabled. I will entertain a motion to,
Basically tabling ordinance, amending the zoning ordinance and official zoning map.
yes, exactly what Ryan said, until to at least July 13th unless we hear from any other parties.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Pearson, second by Weaver. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Tabled. Anything else you want to deal with in there, Brian? Okay. Sanitary sewer, Mr. Johnson.
Nothing to report on that. I do have the water report.
Water, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. Shut off letters, we have 17, which total $4,537.92, 4537.92. We got 2 actual shutoffs and 2 on level pay. Total homes in foreclosure is 6, with 1 foreclosure shutoff letter going out, and that total is $332.13, 332.13. The total in foreclosure is not included, as usual, in the shutoff total above, and the approximate gallons sold is 2,134,378. That's 2,134,378. End of report.
Any questions? Buildings ground, Mr. Weaver.
So the storm shelters construction,
It is.
that's the bathroom.
I believe it is. Yeah.
It's not the bathroom.
It's not.
I don't believe it is. I think it's I think it's a utility closet that is the.
Okay.
Back break room, isn't it?
No, it's not the back break
No.
room. It's on the. As soon as you come in the side door, it's right to the left. I remember that in the plans.
It may be the mechanical room. Yeah. Anyway, it's a place
Well,
for them to go when there's a
looks like
tornado.
framing's gonna start next week.
Yeah, they said I think they're gonna hopefully have the materials there by this Friday, and then start framing next week. So.
Wow. Cool. That's awesome. Very cool.
So the consideration to relocate the electrical pedestal for electricity.
For the public works building. It's right in the center of where, if we eventually put up, if we move the village hall over there, that pedestal's right there, kind of in the center of that property. So we just want to move it out of the way and get it out of the center.
That's at a cost of $1,105.99.
And that's to Ameren. They'll come and move it.
Yeah.
Yeah. To work.
That's I'd make a motion that we go ahead and do that.
Second.
Motion by Weaver. Second by Pearson. Any further discussion? Comments? On Mr. Miller. Roll call it, Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Sidak.
Yes.
Brixill, yes. Weaver.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right, there's also consideration to install a natural gas line for the public building at a cost of $10,571.27.
Just the way of background, that's coming from the north side of the railroad tracks. So it actually has to cross underneath the railroad tracks and then come into where the building is. There's a step in the process that if we approve this, they go to the railroad and then the railroad says yay or nay, but we've already talked to the railroad, or Ameren has, and the railroad's basically said it's not going to be a problem, but we have to go through the process anyway.
And if they say no?
Well, then we're going to have a decision to make. We're going to either have to run a longer gas line from like Sportsman's Club area over. It'll be more expensive, or we'd have to go with propane, which I had Roger run the operational cost, and it's about $1,200 to $1,500 more a year for propane.
If it doesn't go up.
Yeah, I would think it'd be more than that, but I don't know.
It just depends on the fluctuation of propane.
It's gonna take us, 6 6 years to make up that $10,000. The difference between natural and propane, but then after that, it's
All costs.
yeah.
So if we can do natural gas, we'd like to.
So I make a motion that we go ahead and consider this proposal and approve it. It's $10,571.27.
Second. Motion by Weaver, second by Pearson. Any further discussion, comments? So roll call it. Pearson?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Sidak?
Yes.
Purcell, yes. Weaver?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I got nothing on the street.
Nothing on the street now. CEC, Mr. Sidak.
All right, so last week the CDC met and we came up with some, well, they came up with some recommendations for our redevelopment grants. I want to preface this by saying that our utility clerk put a ton of work. I mean, she really went above and beyond the scope of her duties to help make this process more efficient, therefore saving us time and money. Just being an absolute superstar when it comes to communicating with people, coming up with new processes. You guys will notice that in these decks, there are these little one-pagers of every project. And is this all the projects or just the recommended ones?
So there's, under TIF, there's a stack that is recommended, and then after it, there's the stack of not recommended. And then the BDD, they were all recommended, but if you include the ones that were the alternates, and then under BDD commercial, there's a stack staple that is recommended, and staff staple unrecommended.
Yeah, so she went through the trouble of pretty much reading through and digesting all the information from the packets that we, like the 10-page packets that we usually have to go through, and putting it all into one page per project to make it more easily digestible. So the CDC went through.
Of course, they had us open up all of the detailed packets.
Yeah, they were thorough. Most of the projects, when it comes to the residentials, Brian and Sarah really took this job on that. They went through with with some criteria of what they were looking for in projects, and you'll notice our focus is really on things like siding and roofs.
Yeah.
There's like one stoop in here that we thought would really help, but the main focus of our residential projects obviously is what's going to increase the value of the house and the curb appeal of whatever property is being worked on.
CDC recommends based upon two things: greatest value to the village, property value increase, better looking, and the second is if somebody received a grant before, all things being equal, then the new person gets the grant. And to Zach's point, we basically said siding's better than roofs, roofs are better than decks are better than windows are better than trees. It didn't come out exactly that way, but that's kind of the general philosophy that was used. And then they went into each of those and ranked them, like if it was a siding, they ranked siding 1 versus siding 3 or 4.
They went line by line. They're on the commercial grant recommendations. Currently, their recommendation is way under budget because in the communication last year, we did say that if you got one this year, you will not be getting one next year. And that was kind of in the hope that more people could go through, but things shook out that we technically did have enough to approve all of them, but the CDC felt it was more important to stick to their word on that. And so that's why 2 projects here were not recommended.
They both got money last year.
Yeah, they both got projects funded. That being said, we can still approve them, but the CDC felt pretty strongly about not going back on their word about that.
So you got a summary sheet that shows the ones that were recommended, and then we also created alternates in case we had to have somebody dropped out, we had money left over.
But that looks just like a bluff.
So the TIF, we have 50 grand for the TIF residential. This is the BDD residential, we have 25, and then we had 75 for the commercial BDD. And there were at least one good project, I think, on the commercial BDD that they didn't move forward because of if you got one last year, you got one this year, and that was the gray warehouse building over here that they reskinned. They want a blacktop and drive, which would look nice, and it's all along 116, but they felt like if we said we weren't going to get them back-to-back years, that maybe somebody didn't apply, or so they didn't think that that was fair. But again, you got all they can do is recommend. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys to decide what moves forward.
There is also on the commercial side, there is a recommendation for a redevelopment agreement with Hannah's Parlor in their blacktop.
So Hannah's Parlor turned in a thing last year to have all of their blacktop redone, and it was about $50,000, but they couldn't. The grant process didn't work for them because they didn't have $50,000 to do it. So if we did a redevelopment agreement, we might be able to do 40 of the 50 or something, and get some sort of agreement with them that we can spend the money to get that done. And
I remember we told them, like, come talk to us.
Yeah, so that would be an option. So if we save $50,000 on the commercial grant side, you could use it that way, or we could use it for something else.
Yeah, but we're super under budget for commercial, so we have money to use.
So is that 50,000 then included in the, how much do we have in the commercial? Is it 100 or 75?
75,000.
So if we do the redevelopment, then the money's gone. Okay.
If we spent the full amount there. And I'm not suggesting we should. But
Well, no, I'm saying if they approve the redevelopment.
Correct. I'm just saying it's another option.
I was just trying to make sure I had.
Okay, I was looking through the BDD commercial grant. The second one, 26 BDDC2, says applicant's name Hannah City Sportsman's Club.
Correct. So
they own all that? The apartments and...
I don't know, maybe we got the wrong sheet.
Yeah, that's
the wrong picture.
Yeah, that's not Sportsman's Club.
Yeah, that's just woodworking. That's just named wrong.
Okay.
I wondered about that the other day.
Sorry, I think she just named it wrong. So basically what's in front of you is if you take the summary sheet for the
And
TIF.
it's still the wrong address too.
Just on this one, has my address on.
So we need to make those corrections. So
Yeah, I'll take care of that. So these were the projects. There's 50,000 available on TIF residential. So if you agree with what the CEDC said, it would be those 14 projects that would be approved, and the other 2 would be the alternatives.
I think they did an awesome job. I agree with all of them. I looked through every one. I think they were thorough. There's not a single one in there that I'm like, I think they should go over that. Like, I think they did excellent.
So, pending any further comments or questions, I'm gonna start going through these
do we
recommendations.
do all of these?
No, you just you make a motion to support the CEDC recommendations for the TIF residential grant program.
I make a motion that we approve the CDC's recommendations for the 2026-2027 grant program. TIF, BDD residential and BDD commercial.
No.
One at a time. You have to do a vote on each one.
You just said we could do it.
No, I
Okay,
think
so
it's, I'm sorry, we have to do 3
Okay.
because we're allocating money from separate.
Motion that we approve the TIF residential grant recommendations.
Motion by Sidak,
Second.
second by Pearson. Any comments, questions, concerns? And roll call it. Johnson,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Purcell, yes. Weaver,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
and Pearson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I make a motion that we approve the BDD residential grant recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Pearson. Any further comments, questions? Roll call it. Sidak?
Yes.
Excel, yes. Weaver?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
And Johnson?
Yep.
Motion carries.
Before,
I was gonna say, before you do the third, we probably have to have some discussion.
yeah. Do we want to put ourselves on recording saying that we approve that we'll go through with like a development agreement, or should I strike that?
I'm not even sure they're ready, to be honest with you.
Oh, it just says development agreement. We can talk to them about a development agreement. It doesn't mean we're committed to one, but yeah, we can talk to them on one, that's for sure.
I think the big questions are, do you approve the top two projects? And then the next question is, even though we said you weren't going to get them back to back, would you approve either of the other two, the blacktop or the building that's going to be a storage space, or the Sportsman's Club, which is their third year in a row? Or would you follow the CEDC recommendations?
Yeah, they took the time and went through these, so.
And again, just those guys can reapply next year.
Yeah, I'll say again that when they were debating it, it was never a question of whether or not this would add value for the village. Just that we did, I like say in writing that we were not going to be considered if we already got a grant, and so it was a matter of principle for them. I don't know if we said it in writing.
So the Sportsman's Club's had one 3 years in a row.
On one hand, they're a pillar of the community, and if we can help them, great, right? The other thing is, you know, this building that they reskinned, it looks great. If they blacktop the front of that, that's going to look awesome.
Right.
But we said if you got a grant last year, we weren't going to do it this year, so we can go back on that. But then if somebody applied and didn't apply because they thought that,
I got one last year. I thought I couldn't do it.
Exactly.
so
Well, do we need to reword that as if funds are fully used, we will not?
yeah, we can look at that. So it sounds to me like I'm hearing you guys say stick with the CEDC recommendations on the BDD. As far as handling parlors go, I'd have to reach out to them and see if they're still even interested.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the BDD commercial grant recommendation and reach out to Anna's Parlor about a redevelopment agreement. Second. Without spending any money. Other than what we agreed to.
Motion by Sidak, second by Johnson. Any further discussion? We'll roll call it. Weaver?
Yes.
Miller?
Yeah.
Pearson?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Sidak?
Yes.
Excel, yes. Motion carries.
Please tell them thank you. I really put a lot of work into this.
Yes.
They do take it very seriously.
I will say most of what made this successful was Sarah. It was, I mean, she was sending me emails, hey, what do you think of this format? What do you think of this format? Really going above and beyond the scope of the duties as utility. Great. So I think we especially ought to remember that come time for
Recommendations.
recommendations.
Let's look at it this year. Last year, the meeting was about not quite 2.5 hours, right? And Zach brought food, which was great. Last year was about the same time. But last year we reviewed, 18 grants, maybe 20 grants. This year we reviewed 50 in the same amount of time. So what Sarah did really did help.
Yeah. Much more structured. Looks like too.
And it lets you compare them
Oh yeah, it made it
easier.
And then what they did is, once they got into it, they were going between one or another. They would say, "Can we have the details?" And so then we had all the packets, and so she pulled the details out, let them look at all the pictures.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell her extra thank you.
certainly. That ends my report.
Next steps will be we'll communicate, and then we'll have the kickoff meeting. So whoever's eligible or to move forward in the process, we'll have a kickoff meeting and walk through the whole process with them, so they know what to expect. Everybody's on the same page, so there's no confusion down the road.
Hey Zach, did they recommend the developmental agreement? Or is that something that I
They said
need to
that
write?
they said
verbally?
we should look into it.
We'll talk to them.
Okay.
Does anybody hear a high pitched squeal?
I've heard it a couple times.
Okay. I thought my
No, your
ears were ringing as
stroking
again.
out.
I think it's the light.
I thought I was going. I think it's the water.
I thought it was over here. I hear it all the time.
Yeah, it sounds electrical. It's probably a fire.
Okay. That is. Police report. Yeah. Incident report, Mr. Miller.
From 5:03 to 5:30, there was 24 calls.
How many calls?
24.
What was that? Yeah, 13023.
Does she have to write down
Was that
every
you?
call I said?
Casey's.
No, I just write down the
Okay,
total.
good,
I don't
okay,
need to know
'cause
anything else.
I took that
so
crown.
there's a lot of different. So there's one offense involving a child. There was 2 traffic stops, 3 follow-ups, 2 business owned checks, 2 disorderly conducts, welfare check, accident with injuries, disorderly conduct, fire alarm, suspicious person, public service, lockout, unknown, welfare check, shoplifting, which I presume is Casey's, 2 Crown Royal.
There's a lot of cases.
So yeah, there's a lot of different stuff. Service to other agency,
So there was 24 calls
total, yeah.
Wow.
Only 2 traffic stops. 1, 2, yeah. 3. That's it. That's all I have. I think everybody has that copy of that also.
7 of them were cases.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Some were follow-ups to an accident. Follow-ups
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 of them were cases. Accident.
Deceptive practices.
Bad check.
Yep, forgery.
Yeah.
Harassment.
Eric stole some Crown Royal.
That was me.
Is that yours?
They even put case numbers on there on some of them.
Yeah, they actually had
It's
a
all
case.
public
number.
information.
Our next board meeting is June 22nd. Under correspondence, we did get a letter from Joanne Royer, JoJo Royer. She was a drum major at Farmington High School this year. She is very thankful that we were able to support her, and she's going to go on to pursue music education at Illinois State University. Band and choir programs. She was very excited that we could support her in her journey. And I knew her, she was in the band with my daughter. It's cool. June 17th is the Mayor's Association dinner here at Hannah City. I would like to invite you as a board member if you would like to come up for dinner that evening. The village will take care of your dinner. Mayor's Association won't cover it, but we will cover your food and a non-alcoholic beverage. Alcohol beverages are on your own. But the mayors will be there, and then they have some guests. We're just going to do a round table this year.
Is that Gills?
That is Gills. 6 to 6:30 is meet and greet. So if you would like to go, I would probably need to know by the end of the week so I can make sure I have head count. over to Gills to add to the Mayor's Association. So come up, grab a seat. I'll introduce you guys. We have our thing. Just tell them how proud we are and how hard work you guys do. So, especially CDC. I think Amanda will probably be there from Chilla Coffee. She's their CDC rep full time. So, it'd be someone good for you to talk to.
I'll be at Fort McCoy.
God, the armpit of Wisconsin.
Don't come back with somebody like that.
You need to come back with a wife.
Shut your mouth.
2. Okay. Anybody have anything else coming before the board this evening? Meeting adjourned.
Shannon, I got some notes I'll send you in the morning on the that zoning thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.